Larry is 68. No major illnesses. His heart is strong. Blood pressure steady. He still adores his wife, walks with her every evening, but one day, he sat in my office and quietly said, "Doc, I don't know what's wrong. I'm alive. But I don't feel alive anymore." He's not depressed. Not anxious. He just doesn't feel much at all. No drive. No spark. No real desire for intimacy, for closeness, for touch. And if you're feeling something like Larry, waking up each day, technically fine, but emotionally flat, disconnected from your partner, disconnected from yourself, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. This isn't just getting older. This isn't what happens to men after 60. Let me ask you something that could change everything. What if your desire hasn't disappeared, it's just undernourished? That loss of intimacy, that dullness in your spirit, it might not be emotional. It might be biological. Hormones off balance, blood flow slowing, chronic inflammation clouding your signals, and here's the hope. Your body still knows how to come back. It's just waiting for the right fuel. In this video, I'll walk you through 5 powerful plant-based foods that have helped hundreds of men over 60 not just boost their libido, but return to life in full color, full presence, full feeling. We're talking about real connection, renewed energy, a deeper morning breath beside someone you love, and a quiet confidence that comes back without warning. You don't need drastic change. You just need one intentional plate at a time. And I'll walk with you one food, one habit, one gentle step at a time. Let's begin. No one teaches men how to talk about this. Not in their 30s. Not in their 60s. Not ever. And that's why, when desire begins to fade, most men don't say a word. They just adjust. They stop initiating. Stop reaching out. Stop looking in the mirror with that quiet pride. Not because they don't care. Not because they don't love their partner. But because something inside has gone quiet. Let me tell you what I often hear, not in loud complaints, but in quiet admissions. I still love her, but I don't feel that pull anymore. I'm not sad. I just don't feel anything. It's like the motor's still there, but no one's turning the key. And here's the part that breaks my heart. Most men think this is just what happens with age. They assume they've lost something permanent, when in truth, they've just lost the support system behind their desire. You see, libido isn't just about sex. It's about connection. Energy. Presence. It's a reflection of how alive you feel in your own body. And when your libido drops, other things start to go with it. Your motivation, your confidence, your sense of joy, even your patience. Sometimes, a man will come to me about mood swings, or tension in his marriage, or just a vague sense that something's off, and beneath it all is a body that's tired of surviving on empty fuel. The beautiful truth is desire is not lost. It's just sleeping. And there are ways, gentle, natural ways to wake it up again. One plate. One breath. One reconnection at a time. And in just a moment, I'll share who I am, and why I've spent over 30 years helping men like you come home to their body and feel fully present again. Before we go any further, let me tell you why I'm here and why I care so deeply about this topic. My name is Dr. Katherine Rocker. I've spent over 30 years working with men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond, men who look fine on the outside, but quietly carry a truth they've never had words for. I didn't set out to become the libido doctor, but over time, patient after patient would sit in my office and say, "Doc, I'm not broken, but I don't feel like me anymore." Not because they couldn't perform, but because they didn't feel connected to their partner, to their body, to themselves. And every time I heard that, I saw the same pattern. They weren't lacking willpower. They weren't lacking love. They were lacking fuel, the real kind. From food, from rest, from nervous system balance. That's when I stopped seeing libido as just a hormone problem, and started seeing it for what it really is. Right finger, a signal from the body that says, "Please take care of me differently now." So this video isn't a sales pitch. It's not about quick fixes or flashy diets. It's a message. From a doctor who's sat with the silence. Who's walked with men who had no words left. And who's watched the light return, gently, steadily when they finally gave their body what it was asking for. I made this video because desire doesn't have to disappear with age. Mood doesn't have to darken with the years. You can still feel connection. Still feel wanted. Still feel yourself fully, deeply, truly. And it all starts with 5 simple plant-based foods that send the right messages to your hormones, your heart, and your mind. We'll begin with one that's sweet, bold, and full of life. Let's talk about pomegranate. Let's pause for a moment and look beneath the surface. Because when we talk about libido and mood, we're really talking about a system, a conversation happening inside your body between your brain, your blood, and your hormones. And if you've been feeling less desire, less spark, less connection to the people you love, it's not weakness. It's not age. It's biology asking for help. Here's how that conversation works. Your brain, particularly the hypothalamus and limbic system, is where desire begins. This is where signals are sent to release dopamine, the anticipation chemical, and serotonin, the contentment chemical. These create both craving and closeness. Anatomical heart. Your blood flow delivers oxygen and nutrients to vital regions, especially the pelvic area. If your circulation is slow, desire doesn't just fade physically, it fades emotionally. DNA. Your hormones, especially testosterone, amplify desire and energy. But they don't operate in isolation. They depend on nutrients, fats, and minerals to work properly. Without the right signals, testosterone simply pauses. And finally, your nervous system. If you live in chronic stress, your body stays in defense mode, which shuts down reproduction, connection, and intimacy. Now, here's the good news. Food can speak to every part of that system. Yes, real, plant-based food can signal your brain to produce dopamine. Can support circulation. Can lower cortisol. And can gently nudge testosterone back into balance. That's why this video isn't about restriction. It's about reconnection. Because your body hasn't forgotten how to desire, how to feel, how to connect. It just needs a reminder delivered in the form of a plate. And that reminder begins with a fruit that has been a symbol of passion for thousands of years. Let's talk about pomegranate. Some fruits are beautiful. Some are bold. And some are quietly powerful. Pomegranate is all three. For centuries, it's been a symbol of fertility, passion, and life. But today, science confirms what ancient wisdom always knew: this fruit speaks directly to your body's ability to feel, desire, and connect. Let me tell you about Frank. Frank is 71. Married for 45 years. Still deeply in love with his wife, but something had changed. "I don't feel broken," he told me. "I just feel further away, even when we're close." He had no major medical issues. But his blood flow was poor. His testosterone was slightly low. And his energy was dimming. We didn't start with medications. We started with pomegranate. Why pomegranate? Because it supports exactly the systems that drive desire. Red Circle improved blood flow. Pomegranate is rich in polyphenols, which increase nitric oxide, a natural compound that relaxes blood vessels and improves circulation, especially to the pelvic region. That means better blood flow to where it matters. Without drugs, without pressure. DNA supports testosterone. Studies show that drinking pomegranate juice can increase testosterone levels naturally, not just in the blood, but in saliva, where it reflects active function. Beating heart boosts mood and reduces cortisol within just 2 weeks. Men who consume pomegranate regularly report improved mood, reduced anxiety, and a noticeable increase in motivation and connection. How to use it? Drink 100 milliliters, about 3 to 4 ounces, of 100% pure pomegranate juice in the morning. Make sure it's unsweetened and not from concentrate, or enjoy 1/2 cup of fresh pomegranate seeds as a snack or part of a salad. That's what Frank did. Each morning, he poured a small glass, sat by the window, and drank it slowly as if sending a message to his body. 3 weeks later, he came in and said, "Doc, I can feel her again. And I can feel me again, too." It wasn't magic. It was blood flow, hormone support, and brain chemistry all gently activated by one beautiful fruit. So if you've been feeling flat, disconnected, like your desire is locked in another room, pomegranate might be the key. And next, we'll add something rich and dark, something that speaks to your brain, your pleasure, and your masculine fire. Let's talk about cacao. Sometimes, what's missing isn't strength or desire, but the spark that starts it all. That inner warmth. That feeling of anticipation. That little lift that tells your brain, yes, I want this. And there's one natural food that speaks directly to that spark. Cacao. Not candy. Not processed chocolate bars. But raw, unsweetened cacao in its purest, most healing form. Let me introduce you to Dennis. Dennis was 66. Retired teacher. Gentle soul, devoted husband. He loved to laugh. But lately, he told me, I don't get excited about anything anymore. Not food, not sex, not even my guitar. What Dennis was missing wasn't just testosterone. It was pleasure chemistry. And cacao was our way back in. Why cacao? Because cacao is rich in compounds that directly support emotional intimacy and desire. Chocolate phenylethylamine, P, known as the love molecule, P helps trigger the release of dopamine, the same chemical your brain makes when you feel infatuated, excited, or deeply connected. Growing heart theobromine, a mild stimulant that opens blood vessels, gently increases heart rate, and supports emotional warmth without anxiety. Brain magnesium. Cacao is one of the richest natural sources of magnesium, which helps calm the nervous system, reduce stress, and support testosterone production indirectly by lowering cortisol. Shield flavonoids. These powerful antioxidants help improve circulation and protect the delicate hormone signaling pathways. How to use it? Mix 1 tablespoon of raw cacao powder into warm almond milk or oat milk, not boiling, just gently heated. Add a touch of cinnamon or vanilla if desired, no sugar. Let the bitterness speak its medicine, not dessert. Drink in the afternoon or early evening to invite connection. Dennis started making this cacao drink every night after dinner. He called it his evening signal. Within 2 weeks, his wife noticed something before he did. He laughed more. He touched my hand. And one night, he said, I've missed feeling close to you and now I don't feel numb. That's cacao. It doesn't force. It awakens. It reminds your brain and heart what pleasure feels like, not in performance, but in presence. So if your spark has dimmed, this may be the cup that gently brings it back. And next, we'll move to something that strengthens the foundation with protein, minerals, and hormone fuel in every bite. Let's talk about nuts and seeds. Sometimes the body doesn't need excitement. It needs strength. Stability. Something solid to build on. Because libido isn't just a flash of desire. It's a system, one that needs structure, fuel, and support. And that's where nuts and seeds come in. These small, earthy foods are nature's way of restoring the foundation of male hormones gently, powerfully, and consistently. Let me tell you about Roy. Roy was 74. Former truck driver. Stoic, independent, always took care of things himself. But lately, he said to me, Doc, I feel softer, like my edges are fading. He wasn't talking about body fat. He was talking about identity. He missed the grounded strength he used to feel, not in the gym, but in how he walked into a room, and into a relationship. His testosterone wasn't dangerously low, but his body was lacking the raw materials to make more. So we turned to something simple, a daily handful of nuts and seeds. Why nuts and seeds? Because they're full of the minerals, fats, and amino acids your body uses to support libido, mood, and hormone production. Peanuts, zinc, pumpkin seeds, cashews, almonds, essential for testosterone production, prostate health, and sexual function. Chestnut, selenium, Brazil nuts. Just one Brazil nut a day can restore optimal selenium, a trace mineral needed to create sperm and regulate mood. Biceps, arginine, walnuts, sunflower seeds, an amino acid that helps produce nitric oxide, improving blood flow and arousal response. Brain, healthy fats, almonds, walnuts, flax seeds, support hormone synthesis and stabilize brain chemistry for emotional balance. How to use them? Eat one small handful, about 1/4 cup, daily. Mix raw almonds, pumpkin seeds, and one Brazil nut together. Enjoy in the morning with fruit, or as an afternoon snack. Avoid salted, roasted in oil versions. Raw or dry roasted is best. Roy started with one simple routine: a jar of mixed nuts and seeds on his kitchen counter. Every morning after brushing his teeth he'd grab a handful and eat them slowly, like a ritual of rebuilding. After 1 month, he came in smiling. He said, "Doc, I'm not louder. I'm just more here. I feel like a man again without trying." That's the gift of real nourishment. It doesn't hype you up. It reconnects you to the quiet strength that was always there. Next, we'll nourish the system even deeper with foods that open the vessels, oxygenate the blood, and wake up the parts of you that have gone silent. Let's talk about leafy greens and beets. Sometimes, what's holding you back isn't a lack of desire, it's a lack of oxygen. It sounds simple, but if your blood isn't moving freely, if your vessels are tight, tired, or inflamed, then your brain, heart, and intimacy all begin to dim. That's why one of the most powerful things you can do for your libido and mood has nothing to do with testosterone and everything to do with circulation. And two of the best foods for restoring it are right from the earth: leafy greens and beets. Let me tell you about Victor. Victor is 70. Used to be an avid cyclist full of energy. But over time, he slowed down. He said, "I still love my wife, but my body doesn't show it the way it used to." His blood pressure was creeping up. He had cold hands, slower memory, and no morning arousal for over a year. We didn't start with medication. We started with spinach and beets. Why leafy greens and beets? Because they're high in natural nitrates, which convert into nitric oxide, a compound that opens up your blood vessels and improves flow everywhere, especially in the brain and pelvic region. Herb leafy greens, spinach, arugula, kale. High in folate, vitamin K, magnesium, support neurotransmitters for mood, reduce homocysteine, which improves vessel flexibility. Red heart beets boost nitric oxide, improve oxygen delivery, support stamina, mental clarity, and arousal response. Brain mood benefits. Folate and nitrates in these foods help produce serotonin and dopamine, the very chemicals that allow you to feel joy, anticipation, connection. How to use them? Have 1 cup of cooked greens or a fresh salad daily. Lightly sauté spinach with olive oil and garlic. Drink 1/2 cup of beet juice in the morning or add roasted beets to dinner. Combine both in a smoothie or bowl for double effect. Victor began adding a spinach salad with dinner and sipping beet juice before his morning walk. By the 3rd week, he said, "My hands are warmer. My thoughts are clearer. And last night, I felt something I thought was gone." That something. It wasn't just arousal. It was life coming back into his body through blood, oxygen, and nourishment. Desire needs fuel. And leafy greens and beets are some of the most powerful fuel nature offers, with no side effects, no pressure, and no shame. Next, we'll turn to a surprising plant-based source of protein that often gets misunderstood, but when used wisely, can help balance hormones, support mood, and rebuild you from the inside out. Let's talk about fermented soy and lentils. There's a lot of fear around soy, especially for men. You may have heard things like, "It lowers testosterone," "It's only for women," "It messes with your hormones." But the truth, like most things in nutrition, isn't that black and white. Because when you choose the right kind of soy, in the right form, it doesn't weaken your masculinity, it gently restores it. And when paired with lentils, one of the oldest and most grounding plant proteins, you get a combination that supports not just hormones, but emotional strength and inner peace. Let me tell you about Malcolm. Malcolm is 69. A retired military chaplain. Strong, spiritual, but quietly struggling. "I'm not embarrassed to talk about it," he said. "But it's like my body forgot how to respond. I feel disconnected from touch, from joy, from myself." He had cut meat a few years earlier for heart health, but hadn't replaced it well. His protein was low. His energy was flat. And he was afraid soy would make things worse. But what we added was simple. Tempeh, miso, lentils. All whole, unprocessed, and gentle. Why fermented soy and lentils? Because they provide plant-based protein and natural hormone modulators without flooding your system or disrupting balance. Seedling fermented soy, tempeh, miso, natto. Contains isoflavones that help modulate estrogen and testosterone, supports cardiovascular health and blood flow, easier to digest than regular soy products. Bowl with spoon. Lentils rich in plant protein and fiber provide iron, magnesium, and B vitamins, help regulate blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and boost serotonin. Yellow heart emotional support. These foods stabilize blood sugar and calm the nervous system, helping to smooth emotional highs and lows, reduce anxiety, and support emotional availability. How to use them? Add 1 cup of cooked lentils to lunch or dinner. Use miso paste in a warm soup, not boiled. Try tempeh sautéed in olive oil with garlic and greens. Focus on fermented forms, they're more digestible and hormone-friendly. Malcolm started with a small miso broth at night and lentil stew twice a week. After a few weeks, he told me something simple: "I don't feel more sexual. I just feel more here." And now, the connection is coming back. That's what balanced food does. It anchors you. It brings you back into your body so the emotional and physical parts of you can find each other again. Fermented soy and lentils aren't magic. They're just honest support, a quiet way to tell your hormones, "I'm listening." Let's rebuild. Now that we've walked through all 5 foods, let me show you the most common mistakes I see men make when trying to eat plant-based and how to avoid sabotaging your progress without even realizing it. If you've been curious about eating more plant-based, or you've already started, first, let me say this: you're on the right track. But I've seen far too many men do it in a way that leaves them feeling weaker, hungrier, emotionally flat, and sometimes, even more disconnected, not because plants are wrong but because the approach was. So let me show you the 4 biggest mistakes men over 60 make when shifting toward plant-based eating and how to fix them without losing strength, energy, or desire. Crossmark mistake number 1. Cutting out meat but not replacing the protein. You remove red meat, but don't eat enough lentils, beans, tempeh, or nuts. Wrench fix. Make sure you're getting at least 15 to 20 grams of protein per meal. Lentils, chia seeds, hemp hearts, tofu, and quinoa all count. Your muscles and hormones depend on it. Crossmark mistake number 2. Going too low fat. Fat has been feared for decades, but your hormones are made from fat. Especially testosterone. Wrench fix. Include healthy fats daily: avocados, olive oil, flaxseed, walnuts. Don't go fat-free, go smart fat. Crossmark mistake number 3. Relying on processed vegan foods. Plant-based doesn't mean healthy if it comes in a box with 20 ingredients. Vegan cheese, fake meats, sugary granola bars, they spike blood sugar, cause inflammation, and leave you exhausted and irritable. Wrench fix. Stick to whole, real foods you recognize. A bowl of lentils with greens and olive oil will do more for your body than any lab-made burger. Crossmark mistake number 4. Ignoring key nutrients like B12, zinc, and iron. These are harder to get on a plant-based diet, but they're essential for energy, mood, and hormone function. Wrench fix. Consider a B12 supplement. Most men over 60 need this anyway. Eat pumpkin seeds, lentils, and nuts for zinc and iron. Pair plant iron with vitamin C foods to improve absorption. When you fix these mistakes, you don't just go plant-based. You fuel your masculinity from the roots. You feel stronger, more emotionally grounded, more connected to your body and your partner. So don't be afraid to shift. Just do it with knowledge. Do it with presence. Do it with respect for the body that's carried you this far. Now that we've cleared the roadblocks, let me show you the first small step you can take tomorrow morning to begin this journey gently, powerfully, and with real results. By now, you've learned a lot. What desire really depends on. What your hormones quietly need. And how plant-based foods can be more than nutrition, they can be reconnection. But if you're feeling overwhelmed, let me offer you this. You don't have to do everything. You only have to do one thing. So here's what I recommend. Right finger tomorrow morning, start your day with a vitality plate, 1/2 avocado full of healthy fats to support hormone production, 1 slice of sprouted toast with natural peanut butter or almond butter, a few pomegranate seeds or 1 ounce of dark chocolate, 85% cacao, and a small glass of beet juice or water with lemon. That's it. No counting. No measuring. Just one real meal, full of messages your body can hear. You're safe. You're supported. You can rebuild. I've watched this one simple plate bring men back to themselves. It's not about magic. It's about consistency and kindness. Do it 3 mornings in a row. Then 5. Then let your body show you what's possible. Because this isn't a diet. It's a signal. A reminder that you're still here. You're still a man, and it's not too late to feel alive again. And now, I want to close with a few words about community, courage, and how your quiet change might help someone else begin. If you've made it this far, I want to say something that's not in any textbook. I see you. Not just the labs. Not just the diet. But the man behind it all, still showing up, still searching for something real. If this video stirred something in you, a memory, a longing, a quiet hope you'd buried under the years, let that be your signal. You are not broken. You are not too late. You are not alone. If you're ready to begin again gently, simply, from wherever you are, I invite you to leave a comment below with one word. Right finger. Begin. It tells me you're here. It tells others they're not the only ones. And it becomes your first small act of choosing life again. And if there's someone you love, a friend, a brother, a partner who's gone quiet, who's drifting in that same silence, share this video with them. Not to fix them, but to remind them that the door is still open. And if you want more tools, stories, steps that are rooted in healing, not hype, subscribe. This isn't just a channel. It's a community of men reclaiming their strength, quietly, gently, together. Because real intimacy, real vitality, real peace, it doesn't come from pressure. It comes from nourishment. And I'll be right here, every step of the way.